Episode 15. First of all, quickly, just before we do get into it, I think we missed one last week, Tom.
I think we did. I think we probably did. We were busy with our little 5-day challenge, weren't we? So, we've us men have only got we've got very small brains, only a certain amount of capacity. Something comes in and it pushes something else out here, and that's the only excuse we've got.
Yeah, we're running a 5-day challenge. So that took a little bit of our time up last week. So hopefully we'll give you double the value on this live today, so you don't feel like you're missing out.
Absolutely.
So yeah, as the title suggests, too busy to prioritize your health and fitness. Obviously, watch this if you're on now on the live, or if you're watching a replay or watching it back. We're hopefully going to give you as much value as possible, so that reason, or could we call it an excuse, won't be an excuse going forwards. Absolutely. We also want to give you
a like. We need a like. We need a like and a love. So if you find it useful, you find this useful, give us a like. It tells Mark Zuckerberg that we're doing something nice, and then if he sends somebody else. So yeah, give us a like if you do.
Yeah, give us some love. We're basically all children deep inside, and a little tap on the head feels good.
It's not that deep.
Hopefully give you exact steps to move forward, how not to waste your time as well, things that are just pointless probably, and how to actually get some time back.
Too busy. It's a common one, isn't it? It's pretty much, I would say, universal to every single client I think I've worked with. Nobody's ever said, I've got so much time on my hands, Tom, how can I fill that with fitness and sort my food out? No, I don't think anyone's ever said that to me.
No. And look, we potentially may trigger people with maybe something we're going to say on this live, but I genuinely believe that the too busy excuse is just absolutely bullshit. I think I know it, Tom knows it, I think people that are watching this know it, but I'm not saying people aren't busy. They are busy. We're busier than ever. We've got more things going on, but too busy is just not true.
Yeah.
So like now we want it.
There's a Victorian phrase which is like, if you don't make time for health now, you make time for illness later.
Yeah.
And that's, I can't remember, it's a Victorian thing. I can't remember who said it. I'm claiming it.
Victorian person, obviously.
I'm going to claim it because I just said it. But yes, it's sometimes I think you're right. We might trigger people, might go, I've got no time to do it. But actually, I think sometimes when it comes down to I'm too busy, it maybe hides other things underneath that reason or excuse that they're using.
It's just not a priority to someone at that moment, because I think if you looked at, I'm going to give you an example. So I watched a really good Robin Williams documentary the other day. It was awesome. And basically he had a son. I can't remember what his son's name, but Christopher Reeve was the best man. And basically they had the baby and they were baptizing the baby. They all had to give the baby different things that they wanted the baby to have. So like creativity, just like fearlessness, all these qualities. And one of them was health. We'd all want most people's health would probably be, it's got to be in the top 1 to 5, maybe the top 3, isn't it? Most people would say, because without your health, you're pretty fucked, aren't you? Let's be honest. Mm-hmm. So, when it comes to health, suddenly we tell ourselves we're too busy, and it's like, but you tell me your health's important to you, but you're not actually prioritizing it. So you need to look at, is that actually true? Is it really important to you? Because if it is, you'd prioritize it, because we always find time for things that we value, right?
Yeah,
we all do.
Absolutely. And I think there is because when you're talking about prioritizing it and thinking about, like, I'm visualizing maybe somebody as an example, kind of thinking, I'm coming home from work and thinking, I really should go to the gym, and they sat down on the sofa and they're thinking, I'm tired and I don't really like the gym, and I've got so far to go, and it's too big a thing to climb, and so I'll do it tomorrow.
Monday. Start Monday.
And then there's like a bit, maybe in that moment where we choose not to to do something or to take action, there is a little bit of, we get a little bit of kind of a little feel good kind of chemical in our brain that goes, that thing that I'm kind of fearful of, that I know I need to sort out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to do it now. I'll do it tomorrow. And our brain goes, you can relax. It's okay. Tomorrow I will fix it. And so our brains play tricks with us, and it's just protection, isn't it? It's something we're scared of. I'm literally, your brain thinks you're scared of being healthy, or scared of the gym, or scared of changing your diet. So it sends you all these messages to not do it. So I suppose
we're quite good at finding excuses, aren't we? Reasons, excuses. We're all pretty good at it. There'll be a reason not to do something, and if you search hard enough, they're not really that hard to find. There'll always be a reason. And I think if you got your phone out and you looked at, there's a thing that you can do called digital well-being, I think it is, and it tells you how long you've been on your phone a day. And it's like, okay, go and have a look at that, and then tell me you haven't got any time, because most people are spending a serious amount of time on their phone when they could be, whatever it is they want to do, whether it doesn't even have to be health or fitness related. It could be just something that gives you joy in your life and some fun, because, we're just not as connected as we used to be either. So it might not, like, I don't think it has to be just health or fitness. It could be like, are you actually making time for yourself as a priority, a bit of self-care, a bit of self-love?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the reason, I mean, rationally, why would we ever not look after our bodies physically? There is no real rational reason why. I don't think it's built up from past experiences, self-worth. Kind of, I've got children and now they're more important than me, and all this stuff. Or I know it's hard and I don't want to do it, or I've tried everything and I didn't enjoy any of it. And it's so
yeah, I think too busy, and I don't know if you would agree with me. I'm not sure if people would agree, but it's fine. This is what we're here for. I think too busy is just an excuse covered up in that I either don't know what to do, or I've tried things before and it hasn't worked. I haven't got the results. What if I do this again and I fail again? It's another thing that I've tried and I've failed. Whereas if you go, do you know what? I'm just too busy, or I wish I had time. You're basically just letting yourself off for not doing it again. And that's an easier maybe pill to swallow than going, do you know what? I failed a few times before, but do you know what? I'm going to get back on the horse and I'm going to go again, because maybe this time would be different. Maybe the plan would be better for me. Maybe it's going to be more sustainable. So I just think when you actually sort of go beneath the layers, it's a protection mechanism, because we want to protect ourselves. We don't want to have the hard truth of, I'm just not prioritizing it and it's going to affect my health in the long term. That's a harder thing to face up to than going, I'm just too busy, aren't I? It's just not true.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. We're not saying any of this is easy to fix, or it doesn't feel good if you're saying these things, but it is a truth that you can always find time to do to progress.
Yeah, we're not saying this we're not saying this in an unempathetic way. It's more like, that mate who's your best mate, but always gives it to you straight, or even your parents. My mum's pretty good at it, to be honest. They tell you the things that you don't always want to hear, but you need to hear them. So that's what we want to do. Look, we're coaches, and sometimes a coach has to tell you some stuff that maybe you don't want to hear, and it maybe it triggers you, but remember, like, what is it that's actually triggering?
Yeah, and it might be the trigger is that we're maybe holding up a bit of a mirror to the situation, and that's the thing, because whoever's watching, or we're not responsible for the situation you're in. We might not have ever met you, or ever spoken to you, or ever. So it's like, if what we're saying is triggering, then again, go beneath the layers and go, why would some guy in Portsmouth and some guy in Scarborough, when they say something, make me feel a certain way? Why is that? And that's a lot of the stuff we talk about, isn't it? It's about questioning our thoughts, questioning our choices. And I like the example you said a minute ago about going into it with an open mind, trying something and it not working, but then trying something and not working. And actually, if I think about like a childlike want to learn something new, and the example I like is my daughter doing cartwheels. She never felt bad about the fact she couldn't do cartwheels, but she but if she's probably never going to watch this. She wasn't very good at them when she first started. And then, but it's like, do you know what? I'm just going to try. I'm going to try and try. I'm going to try different things. I'm going to go. I'm going to do it. And now she can do awesome one-arm cartwheels. And that's because she's never given up at it.
It's the same as a child learning to walk, isn't it? A child doesn't come out being able to walk. They try and they fall over and they wobble and then they get a bit certain and then they eventually learn to walk. But there's no judgment on them, is there? There's just like, you keep going until you finally nail it. So yeah, it's about committing to something. If the plan doesn't quite work, and Tony Robbins talks about this a lot, it's like, look at what didn't work, adjust, go again. Look at what didn't work, learn, adjust, go again. And I think that's what, again, we're saying this with all like kindness and arm like around your shoulder, but sometimes having those tough conversations is really important. And just question, is it true? Am I actually too busy, or am I just not prioritizing it? But look, we want to give you some actual steps to take from this. So yeah, we want to give you some exact steps to like focus on to move forward. So look, I think the saying I'm too busy comes with thinking I've got to find an hour a day to get to the gym. I think that's where it comes from as well. I think there's some fear attached, as in I'll say it because then I don't have to go and do the things. But there's also too busy because I don't have an hour a day to train. And that's fine.
In training less than an hour, Michael? What's the point in that? I can't get a good workout in. And
yeah.
I think that's part of the thought process, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the hour thing is funny, isn't it? Because we chose, I don't know when hours were chosen as a measure of time. It's probably to do with circling the sun and all that, and 60 minutes, 60 seconds and degrees. And probably, back in Greek times, but everything seems to be an hour, doesn't it, these days? It's like Outlook is an hour, Google's an hour, workouts are an hour.
I think the thing is, as well, I think you get a lot of the influencers nowadays, a lot of the personal trainers that just don't have an understanding, that have come out maybe new, that they've just got qualified, they're in their 19s, 20s. They've got no idea what it must be like for a guy in his 40s, 50s that runs a business, that has 3 kids, that has a wife, that's got a house to upkeep. And they go, well, get in the gym 4 to 5 times a week. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. So you need to get to a reality. And I think what people do is they maybe beat themselves up because they haven't got that hour. They haven't got all that time to do the things. And you got the PT is just going, but find the time. No, you can't find the time. You can find some time, but the likely is you can't find an hour. So it's like, well, can you find half an hour? And that's just the exercise side of things. There's other wins you can certainly implement without actually having to find time. Water.
Make it smaller. I mean, it's like it's. I suppose it's a little bit of a leap of faith and going, do you know what? If I did something small now, then eventually it's going to grow. And it's a bit like our little 5-day challenge. We've only asked, like exercise-wise, we've asked them to do 3 sets of press-ups. Sorry, I got a barking dog. 3 sets of press-ups to do, which doesn't take very long. But it's the seed, isn't it, that you're planting? You're thinking, I'm going to plant this seed of exercise in my life, and I'm going to commit to it, and I'm going to take a little bit of leap of faith because some guys off the internet told me to do this, but just think, like, I'm going to do what I can do, and I'm not going to try and do what someone else is doing. I'm going to plant that seed.
Yeah, and we haven't. Yeah, we're doing a 5-day challenge. We haven't asked anyone to find an hour. Like we say, we're getting them to do 3 sets of press ups, maximum press ups, drink water, and what else are we doing? Some intermittent fasting, So it's something that's simple to implement and shouldn't take a lot of time, because if we're all time poor, trying to etch out more time is not going to happen. But it's looking at what can you do more effectively with the time that you have. And also, once you get more energy, because I think that's what people struggle with as well. If your energy is low, you're not going to want to go to the gym. You're not going to want to exercise. You're not going to want to make good choices on food. But the only way to get your energy up is by taking action. You're not going to suddenly wake up one morning and have the energy you did have in your 20s and 30s if you're a 40, 50-year-old guy. It's not going to happen. But you can definitely get energy back. But you have to, I think, again, going back to Tony Robbins, motion equals energy, basically. I think he says movement equals energy. So you've got to move your body, and that way you'll get more energy and you'll want to do more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah, I like the one of, I suppose, so we've got people can look at their phones and again make an honest, go and look at it and just look at the stats and go, right, how much time did I spend on, ironically,
eye opening?
Yeah, and have a look and just think, right, what have I got there? And again, you don't have to do anything with that information. Just be aware of it and think, right. So am I too busy? And I like the idea of just shrinking the if you're talking about exercise, shrink it down and just please take a leap of faith, because we work with lots of people that actually this, if you take a little leap of faith and do the small things but nail those small things, it does grow, because you're building the habit and you're building in that behavior. And if you change your behavior from the ground up, everything else just happens. It just takes a little bit of time, but then
Yeah.
strong strength takes time to build.
It's just like, the way I see it is, it's just like another tick in the column. You know, if you've got like two choices, like, or two columns, and this one's always the unhealthy options, and you've got a load of ticks there, it's probably not going to look too good for you. If you have a column here and you've got loads of ticks, you know, it's going to probably look a lot better for you. And what I mean by that is, it could be like lots of parents that have kids do lots of after school clubs. And sometimes I know people that go for a coffee, or, you know, I know some clients that used to go to a pub. They'd be like, oh yeah, we drop off the kids, we go to a pub and have a couple of pints. And I'll be like, all right, you know, probably not the best decision. So could you go for a walk? Right? Drop the kids off. You maybe got an hour until they're back, so you got to pick them back up. So in that time, could you go for a walk? I had one client was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. She managed to do like, I think it was like 8,000 steps. And her kid was at an after school club or something activity like 4 days a week. She suddenly got like, what's that, like 32,000 extra steps in, where she would normally just gone and sat and had a coffee. You know, so it's like, if you think about that column, that's a tick, right?
Yeah, and it's finding those little points, isn't it? Of and using them. I don't know, I was going to say more wisely, using that space more wisely, because if it is important for you to be healthy and have the fitness level and be the kind of be a healthy weight and whatever it is, if it is important, then you have to make the choice to change. It doesn't have to be huge, and it doesn't have to be doing stuff you don't enjoy. It's just a matter of thinking, where can I slot this into my life as it is now? Because, like Michael said, you're not too busy to fix this. We all have the same amount of time in the day. It's just a matter of finding that space and making a plan, seeing if it works. If it doesn't, change it. If it does, carry on.
Yeah, and the amazing thing is, and we've seen this so many times, I'm sure you've seen it with your clients, and I know you've seen it with your clients, I've seen it with my clients, you know, normally someone starts at the beginning and their energy levels are low and they are tired, lethargic, because that's the reason they're working with us, right? Because they want to improve energy, lose weight, feel better, all those things. But after the first couple of weeks, and it happens quickly, when the energy levels raise, a little bit of weight comes off, exercising more, sleep gets better.
Well, that guy this week, three days, and he's had his first kind of full
best
night's sleep
in ages, he said, you know. So then you automatically got more energy. And I think energy is absolutely fundamental, because your energy is low, you're never going to want to do all the things. You know, you're never going to want to go to the gym, and it's just going to be hard work and you're going to stop. But if your energy is good, you're going to want to go to the gym, and then you feel good for doing that. And then you actually want to find other ways of doing more because you feel good. You know, and that's the key. And suddenly, I don't know, you're sleeping better, so you get up a little bit earlier in the mornings and you do a 20-minute or half an hour workout, and then you finish work and you're not knackered, so you want to do a 20-minute, half an hour workout. You want to take the kids out of the weekend, and suddenly it can really shift quickly.
Yeah, and like we spoke about the other night, the time that you put in to looking after yourself now, you get back tenfold. Again, a massive study I was reading fairly recently was if you looked after yourself, there was different metrics they'd use, but it was 10 to 15 years of life. I mean, that's a long time to kind of. So the more you look after yourself now, the more you are hedging your bets to maximize at the end those 10 to 15 years.
100%. But I think the problem with that sort of thinking is, like, it's so far away, isn't it? We want to see things quickly, don't we? Yeah. So look, we wanted to say to you as well. We wanted to, like, I think we've given you some stuff to, like, go and work on, especially just being a bit more brutal with your time as well. Like, you're the most important person in your life for everyone else, so you've got to be a little bit brutal with your time. And if someone's draining your energy, and you know it's having a negative effect on you, and they're not uplifting you, then you got to try and be a little bit more brutal with your time, and make sure that you're doing some stuff for yourself, and then maybe scheduling workouts like a meeting and making them non-negotiables as well. This is what I do. It's non-negotiable. But then I want to go to what we said earlier and just looking at things that don't take time. Drinking the water doesn't take time.
No. Making small changes to your food. You're still eating. It doesn't take time. Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't take time. Getting into a better sleep routine, maybe it takes a bit of thinking about, but it doesn't take time. So it's like looking at what are the things can you implement that actually don't take time. And then again, your energy levels are going to raise up. And we talked about getting time back, and you will get time back if you have more energy, because you're going to be so much more focused at work, you're going to be so much more efficient with what you do. Suddenly you've got all this time back because you're fucking better, basically. Right? You're just better.
That's it. No, I totally agree. So if anybody it's an interesting one to have people's thoughts on, because it's such a common reason that is given for not doing something. So I would be interested to know what people's thoughts are, whether it's agreeing with us or disagree.
Yeah, of course. We like to be challenged. Like, we're not saying, obviously we back our views and opinions. It's not just come from, we've been in the industry a long time between us, like been doing this like 19 years now. I know. So like, and hundreds of clients. And Tom, how long have you been in the industry? You've been in quite a while as well, haven't you?
Yeah, about 7 years. So
we've got like 26 years experience between us. So we'd like to think we know what we're talking about.
The some of the mistakes that we talk about, we've done ourselves. So it's like, and we are not perfect beings, and I have used the too busy excuse in the past with certain things. So I know the place, and I know the reason. I didn't know the reasons why then, but it's that it's taking our minds and going through those levels, like we said earlier, kind of thinking, what, I'm too busy and I can't do it. Okay, just question that thought and kind of use some of the things that we've spoken about today. Have a check on your phone. That is a really good one, and it can be a bit eye-opening.
Seriously, I do quite a bit of work on my phone, so I don't like being on my laptop as much. But then you get sucked into Instagram and Facebook and all the social media, LinkedIn, all those things, and it's just.
I had a client spending 2 hours on Twitter a day.
That's crazy.
He just didn't. He said he came on the call and was like, wow. I knew I was on Twitter, but I didn't realize. I just didn't. That 2 hours. So the whole kind of idea of, that's enough time to do everything he needed to do. So it's like, it's just gone, isn't it? And again, he was really honest and said, you know what, I can't use that excuse ever again. I'm like, no, you can't. You make a choice. Yeah,
and just to wrap up, I think we're not saying this without empathy. We're saying this in an empathetic way. We understand that everyone's life is busy, but if you keep telling yourself you're too busy, you'll always be too busy. Your health will never be a priority, and at some point you have to have a little bit of a tough conversation and say, like, what is going on, and when am I going to be not too busy to actually prioritize my health? If you're telling yourself that's something important to you, which probably 99% of people it would be, right? Because without our health, we haven't really, we're not going to be around for our kids very long. We're not going to be able to look after ourselves. It's like when you're ill, you give anything to be healthy again. When you feel good, you're like, oh God, Yeah,
no, absolutely.
As always, guys, we appreciate any feedback, any questions. Feel free to challenge us. We got pretty broad shoulders, so we appreciate it. And we will be back next week.
All right. Thanks, Michael.
All right. Cheers, guys. See you later.